All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Oceanic World Championship continues. We're getting really close to the end of the tournament. It's the winners bracket finals, and spawning here in the bottom left corner of the map, it's the blue Terran player, Team Liquid's Taeja.
Nipper writes, as the red Terran, it's Gumiho.
Man, we've got to see a lot of Gumiho lately through the Alima Leagues, through our tournaments, through pretty much every Asian qualifier I can think of off the top of my head. This guy has been out in force, and he's not shy about hiding builds. He's not shy about showing what he's got, and he's definitely willing to play Mech versus Zerg 100%. Transfers that over to Terran sometimes. I really can't help but wonder if this is the guy, like of all people in this tournament, to take down Taeja.
You know, if this was an Olima League, I would definitely be like, yeah, Gumiho is like, you know, he's pretty darn good in TVT. He's pretty darn good in general, definitely. Unfortunately, you don't see a lot of Taeja, as you said before, like on these online cups. So he isn't quite like Maru level though, you know, like.
If it was Maru, we're like, oh, it's a T-Rex. Doesn't matter what race it's playing against.
Yeah,
right?
like online Maru is a lot different than in real life, but not really so much in Taeja. But I am very curious to see how these two guys are going to face each other. I think this is the first time in quite a while. I mean, I could check Alugilac, but that's too much work, obviously. Yeah,
Tamiyo is a bit of effort when it comes to StarCraft 2. But that being said, I mean, Taeja, when we do see him in tournaments, badass all the time, forever. It's one of the things where he gets to the end of a tournament pretty much no matter where he goes. So this is the joke, like, okay, it's $10,000. That's the cutoff about Taeja doing good versus doing poorly. But the Oceanic tournament, guys, this actually has a pretty nice prize pool. It trickles down really far. Pretty much everybody in this tournament gets paid. It's ridiculous how far it goes. I think it's like 32nd place gets $20 or something, but first place gets $1,000. That's not too shabby. The problem is, though, that a lot of people may not realize is that's Australian dollars. That's like giving a tournament prize winning in Canadian dollars.
Whoa, I didn't realize this either. I feel gypped.
Well, I only say this because it's a little bit less than 1,000 in actual US dollars. I think about 800 and something. But still, it's a lot of money. I mean, again, you're playing StarCraft 2. You're having a good time. This is something you've just been doing through the year. And I really don't think it's what this big, glorious prize pool. It's not WCS after all, but there's still competition to be had. And as we see players start placing in this tournament, start getting knocked out, placements start getting determined. And we'll see just who comes out on top. I think for a lot of the foreigners in this tournament, too, what's really cool is I think a lot of these guys know they're not going to get first place. Not against somebody like Taeja. But it's about seeing how far they can get up to that point. So you got folks like Hitman. He made it to the winners bracket semifinals. You got folks like Igas who are still fighting it out in the losers bracket versus Arthur. I don't know if that series is concluded or not. Maybe because it took so damn long to get into this one. But I'm just saying there's a very interesting dynamic to the way this is being played out.
Well, this game's starting to shape up a little bit. We got Gumiho going for a 1-base build and Taeja for a 2-base. He did take the natural command center, so this doesn't usually have that big an impact. Usually people are just too good at the game. They see the build, they know where to put their units. It doesn't really work out that it's too hard to defend, but it can be. Suddenly Hellions attacking the natural, or Banshee having to deal with it in more than one place. Let missile turrets. It's harder,
Oh, what was that at Taeja?
Apparently Reaper was trying to commit suicide by jumping off the cliff, but there is something in his suit that says don't.
Yeah, that was several shades of awkward. You did see the Hellions coming out of this, so I like the bunker coming down at the front. The problem is there's not a wall. There's nothing to stop the Hellions from running by this. And it's not even the case where they're going to run by it. Well, they may actually, but we got the medevac also coming across the map at the same time. Taeja really just doesn't have much of anything to fight with. No, it doesn't. But
that bunker is certainly going to help. It's Foxtrot too. Like, it's not even the case that seeing this bunker would make Gumiho stop. I mean, he has so many places he can drop these units on without being scouted. Unfortunately, he's just immediately scouted here, and that already takes so much away from the push. To know it's coming and to know where it's coming to. I don't know. He's gonna try and go to the main.
The Marines being in low number like this actually doesn't quite work out for him, so Hellions didn't get that opportunity to run up the ramp either. For Taeja's sake, with the Hellions alone, he'll be able to stop this attack. Yeah,
so. This is really not doing a whole lot for Gumiho, which means that he just has to pretty much accept the fact that he had a much slower command center. Like, hopefully these builds kind of equal out, but oh, wait a minute, the Hellions got to the natural. They just slipped right past. They get a couple SCV kills.
5, not bad. I mean, not exactly cost effective, but still, at the end of the day, a lot of what he was trying to do was just pressure Taeja anyways, otherwise he would have withdrawn a long time ago. So he's following this up with the Banshee. He's going to be coming out in a second. He actually, oh, he actually does have cloak, never mind, sorry. I'll finish up here in just a sec. Siege Tank follow-up to this is quite cute as well, but it's not like he's slacking in the macro. You know, he got his command center down. He's starting to mine up off that base. Both players on similar worker counts, and even though it was only 5 SCVs, it was kind of what he needed to get caught up to Taeja.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was gonna get into. So it is a little bit caught up. I mean, the Banshee follow-up is kind of a normal thing, but Taeja did scan to make sure. So he has Mr. down position. But, you know, Gumiho, the way that he was producing, he could definitely do like a 2-tank push into the front. Banshees provide the high ground vision. They provide vision in general. With Cloak, sometimes they do a lot of damage to like your opponent's tanks because they don't have enough scan or something like that. It can be actually a very powerful push. And as we see, Gumiho is going out with it right now. It's a little bit less powerful, I would say, on any map that has a natural ramp as far away as Foxtrot does. Because you're not making them scared of having to lift their natural anytime soon. Like, you have to siege up on the bottom of the ramp, although it looks like Gumiho is going to break the rocks back here, maybe? Oh, he's going to go down here. That's right.
Yeah, in the corner, you can
totally forgot about this point.
This was kind of interesting. I just want to point out, by the way, you guys, your eyes were not deceiving me. The game's not broken. If you duck in and add a vision real quick, the Vikings will still shoot at the Banshee, but it'll take no damage if it's undetected after the shots land. So, kind of funny to see Vikings get like 4 volleys off and no damage goes down at all.
Yeah. I mean, Gumiho's looking a little hesitant. This is only 1 tank too, by the way, so not really powerful. And the reason for the hesitation has got to be because the 2 Vikings were in position without high ground vision. Obviously, setting up that siege is not nearly as powerful, but
yeah, well, actually, with no high ground vision, it's pretty much impossible. So he's gonna try and break down the rocks instead, which is not a horrible choice, but for the sake of what Gumiho's got on this side of the map, I don't know what else he can really do with this. Because I mean, the siege tank will slowly creep forward, but Taeja's got his own Banshees coming out now. He's gonna have a tank himself. I just don't think Gumiho does too much with this attack.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, I mean, the Banshee in the main base of Taeja gave like 4 more kills, and it survived too. So he's taking like the, you know, so far the less economical, you know, builds, but he's making up for it, no problem. It's actually pretty darn even. But now it is Gumiho with the faster third, much faster third. So it's getting into an orbital while Taeja only just started his.
This is kind of that pivotal point in the game, though, where we're either going to see this go into a big collision of a battle and maybe we'll see something really awesome in the next 5 minutes, or this ends up being pretty, maybe not passive, but long, because that's the time it takes to establish that third to get a 4th command starting up in base. I mean, Taeja's not exactly taking a lot of guff here from these Banshees. I really like that point defense turn instead of auto turrets to shut that down.
Gumiho, I like how greedy he's playing.
It's not even really that greedy, though, when you consider just how much pressure he's been putting on.
Well, that's true. Okay. I see your point in that one. But I was not because of the 3rd command center either. I was going to say because he's also going for those double upgrades.
Yeah, that part I would agree with greedy on. This is usually champion player can get a +1 over his opponent, not 1-1 or anything like that. As Taeja is only going for 1 upgrade himself back at home. This will actually give Gumi a pretty decisive lead in marine fights, but strictly marine fights.
Yeah. I do like the point you brought up about pressure is really important too, because the one reason you wouldn't like is this drop. Oh, it's a Banshee. This might do a lot of damage. This turret's on here.
Yeah, it will actually do a good chunk of damage. And this is kind of the problem where Taeja had been microing so much at home. That Banshee was idling over here for a long time. Like, it wasn't being sent in because Taeja was trying to bide his time. He just had to spend every action at home defending and stopping Gumiho from doing more damage. So Taeja, you know, evens up that worker kill count almost 12 to 11. Not too bad. Loses the Banshee though.
Very nice, but yeah, this does good work. Does start placing turrets everywhere. So Banshee harass, you know, any further Banshee harass, isn't that?
I'm a little bit curious. Both times he didn't target the SUV building the missile turret down at all.
Yeah, I guess there is that same microing back at home.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about like it is so important that Gumiho was applying that pressure, because if he wasn't, you know, he took a third. They're both taking thirds, right? It's Foxtrot that is very like. There's a lot of points of attack. There's not like one alleyway that you siege up your tanks. You're like, I'm good to defend this third. There's an entire concave and 3 different ramps that they can go down to actually surprise you. So it is kind of a hard third to really hold. And they're both just bypass each other. Oh, I thought it was so awkward in CVT. They're gonna base trade 1 for 1.
Well, I think if this ends up being the case, if Taeja can sneak out an SCV, he had his opponent tear down an exit hole for him. So I think this could actually be a bigger deal, whereas Gumiho is going to be stuck here unless he sneaks into a medevac or something. Taeja could actually literally run SCVs outside of his base this way rather than into a cluster of death. But he's going to leave him here to try and buffer. I actually kind of like this move too. Back on the other side of the map, it looks like Gumiho with that 1-1 does take a pretty good Marine fight. The tanks are really all that's left alive, and 3 tanks isn't going to base trade. Now Taeja has to defend at home, but I don't think he can. Pick up the Marines, drop from top of the tank.
He had 1 less upgrade and no combat shields. That's pretty important when you're relying on this type of base trade, like Marines are going to win out here scenario. And now it's looking like Gumiho is going to take the better the better base trade and probably the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the tanks are forced to unsiege now. They've got no high ground vision.
Yeah, and the production is still like they both lost each other's thirds, but Gumiho still has his natural, so his production's going to win out.
Taeja's trying to break this, but he's struggling. Those Marines are just a little too much. Gumiho will take game number 1 off of our Liquid Terran. Is the prize pool not enough?